Good morning, everyone. Today we will discuss about entity relationship model. So, what is entity and what is relationship? What are these? First of all, what is an entity? Any real world object, we can call it as the entity. So, in this entity ER diagram in DBMS plays a crucial role in designing the database. So, ER diagram is the diagram that represents the relationship among the entities in the database. It is commonly known as an ER diagram. Now we will see. So how can you create the ER model in DBMS and how it can be easy for the database developers for creating these databases and everything. Why we are using database in, ER diagrams in database like this, we can see now, right? So first of all, ER diagrams are used to represent ER model in data. That makes very easily and it can be converted into relationships. That means in tables. And you can store it very easily. It requires no technical knowledge, no hardware support. By seeing itself, you can identify. Even a layman also can understand. It reduces the complexity also for the database designers. So it gives a standard solution with the visualized perception, right? So what does this ER diagram basically and what it contains? Basically, this ER diagram contains three components. The first one is entity, attributes, and relationships. Entity. So what is meant by an entity? Entity is anything in the real world, such as an object, it may be person, place, or whatever it may be. That objects may be exist physically and or logically also. So any real world entity, we can call it as the object. That object is nothing but the entity, vice versa. For example, if a person is an entity, so the person is having multiple characters, right? He is having some age, some name, some height, weight, occupation, like this. So all these characteristics of that particular entity, we can call it as the attribute. The characteristics are nothing but the attributes of that particular entity, right? And what is the relationship? Relationship is used to describe the relation between the entities. So this is what we can say, that what is an entity, what is an attribute, and what is the relationship. Now we will see what is the symbols we are using for the ER model. The first one is rectangle. So we can represent entities in the rectangular shape and attributes in the ellipse shape, and the relationships we can use diamond symbol, and lines we can use for creating the relationship between the entity sets with the other relationship types, right? Now see here. What is this rectangle indicates? It indicates the entities in the ER model, and this ellipse symbol, it indicates the attributes in the ER model, and this diamond symbol, it indicates the relationship among the entities, and the line symbol, it indicates the attributes and entities and entity sets with other relationship types. And what is an ER diagram? Now see here. This is one entity and this is one entity. So in these entities, we are having these attributes and these are represented in the form of ellipses. And between these two entities, we are having some relationship. So that relationship we are representing with the help of the diamond symbol. So two entities and their attributes separately, and we are connecting with the help of the relationship. So this is how the AR diagram looks like. For example, see here. Here student is an entity. And with this entity, we are having multiple attributes. ID, name, address, and age. Right? So here, see here. Here student and course. Both are nothing but the entities, and these entities having the relationship like study. Of course, right? Student has to study, and he has to study what? Course. So study is the relationship between the student and course entities. Like that, you should be having meaningful relationship. See here, employee and department. These two are different entities. For this employee entity, name, ID, age, and salary are the attributes. And for this department, it is having some ID and some name should be there. And what is the relationship between this employee and this department? This employee should work for the department, right? So this is the relationship between the two entities. We are connecting these two entities using this relationship. So this is nothing but the ER diagram. Next, we can go for the keys. So what are the keys? Key means it uniquely identifies any record or a row of data from the table. That means, for example, see here. Here, employee table is there. Here, I'm having some employee ID, name, address, everything. But by which field you can uniquely identify your employee? By using employee ID. So that is nothing but the key, and that is nothing but the primary key. And primary key is nothing but the not null plus unique. It is the combination of not null and unique. Means this employee ID, that means this primary key should be unique and it should not be not null. That means always this employee ID should have some value. So that means the primary key is nothing but the combination of not null and unique. And next key is foreign key. Foreign key means if you want to go for the relationship between two tables, then you can go for the foreign key relationship. Here see, here department ID is the primary key in employee table and that is foreign key in the department table. These two primary key names should be same and you can connect these two with the help of the foreign key. And the next one is candidate key. Candidate key is nothing but the attribute or set of attributes that can be identified. That should be identified uniquely. But except for the primary key, the remaining all you can consider as the candidate keys, right? For example, see here. Employee ID is nothing but the primary key here and the remaining passport number, license, SSN. These set you can call it as the candidate key. So except the primary key, remaining keys you can call it as the candidate key sets. And what is the super key? So what is the super key means? It is nothing but it also identifies uniquely. It is a superset of the candidate key. For example, see here. Here, employee ID and employee name. These two should be super key. For example, this employee name may be same, but this employee ID should be different. So like this, the combination is occurring. Then you can call it as the super key. The next one is alternate key. Alternate key means it is nothing but the difference between the total number of candidate keys and the primary key. See here. Here the primary key is employee ID and PAN number is the alternative key. So if you will subtract this one, then you will get the candidate key, right? And next. In ER model, we are having entity, attribute, and relationships. In entity, we are having weak entity, strong entity. In attribute, we are having key attribute, composite, multi-valued, and derived attributes. In relationship, one-to-one, one-to-many, many-to-one, and many-to-many. The first one is entity set. So, for example, if you are having an entity and it is having some primary key in that entity, then you can call it as the strong entity like this. If you are having primary key in the entity, then you can call it as the primary key strong entity. If you are not having any primary key and if it is having foreign key, then you can call it as the weak entity. Now we can see how can you represent the strong and weak entity. Strong entity you can represent with the rectangle and weak entity you can represent with the double rectangle. The next one is types of attributes. We are having types of attributes. The first one is simple attribute. So normal attributes, we can call it as the simple attributes like this, a name, phone, age. And this ID is nothing but the primary key. It is having some underline here. So like this, you can identify the primary key. And composite attribute means it is the combination of multiple attributes. For example, take the address. So what is the address contains? Street, city, state and country. So it is divided into multiple attributes. This is nothing but the composite. And the next one is multi-valued attributes. For example, if you are having multiple values for the same attribute, means for example, if you are having more than one phone number, then it is nothing but the multi-valued. It should be represented with the double ellipse. And the next one is derived attribute. Derived means you can get the age of yours from the current date to your date of birth. So like that you can get the derived, right? So like this you will represent with the dotted rectangle, dotted ellipse symbol. You can represent the derived attributes, right? And the next one is complete representation. See here, this is the student attribute, and here you are seeing address. This is nothing but the composite attribute because it is having multiple, it is deriving, I mean, multiple values it contains, and roll number is the primary key. And here, see, phone number. This is the multi-valued attribute, and this age is nothing but the derived attributes. So this is the complete representation of your attributes types. And the last one is relationship. How the relationship exists between two entities. For example, teacher teaches the student. So this is nothing but the relationship. Here we are having four types of relationship. First one to one. One person is having only one passport, and one passport is can be held by the only one person. So this is nothing but the has a relationship between one to one. So this is the example for the one to one relationship. The second one is one to many. One scientist may invent multiple inventions, but one particular invention might be followed by one scientist only. So this is nothing but the one to many. And the next one is many to one. The course will be one, but it can be taught by many students. So this is nothing but the many to one relationship. And the last one is many to many relationship, means one employee and one project may be possible. But if in a company you are having multiple employees and multiple projects, right? So multiple employees are assigned to the multiple projects. So this is nothing but the best example of many to many relationship. So this is about the relationships topic. Thank you.